Hey there. This is my last week playing goblins at my local 7-Point Highlander weekly. Not because there's nowhere more to go with the deck, there are definitely other ways to build it, and this way is not necessarily the best, and this version isn't necessarily the most refined. But since I've had the deck, played with it, I've figured out what I wanted it to do, and I've made it as good as I can at doing that thing. There's not really much more content that I can get out of making minor tweaks to this version. For instance, here's the list of changes that I'm making for this week. Goblin Sledder out, Gut True Soul Zealot in. That's it. So this week I'll do a bit of a retrospective, talking about how the deck started, the reason that I changed it, and give it one last go to see if I can hit another back-to-back positive record. I started with this list by Luke M, coming from the perspective of Canadian Highlander, where Goblins is a very fast curve-out deck with a comprehensive burn suite. By comparison, this list has virtually no removal and a very bunched up curve in the middle, particularly around the 3-drop area. So when I built my own version, I tried to maximize my odds of high rolling those accelerated 3-drop starts. This worked fine, but I found it inconsistent at best and lacking play on critical early turns, especially turn 1. This is partly because I lack the budget for some pieces like City of Traders, but even with City it doesn't improve by that much. So, as I tuned the deck, I moved it away from that more mid-rangey, combo-centric game plan that Luke's list seems to have, and more into a curve-out creature aggro deck, adding 1-drops and mulliganing to more aggressive starts. I found the beatdown first version of the deck felt better to play for a few reasons. It gave me more game against interactive decks, since forcing them to respond to my early plays cleared the way for late game bombs and a combo finish, but it also just felt good to be taking game actions as soon as the game started. The deck doesn't have a lot of interaction, so pressure was a really big priority for me, given that I can't really reclaim the board once my opponent's taken it over. Recruiter was the single hardest card to learn how to use. After the first week or two, I felt pretty good about the way I was building my stacks, but as time went on I realized I was severely underutilizing its power as a 1-card combo piece. By last week, I was frequently just showing my opponents the combo as I built my stack, rather than trying to conceal my intentions. I needed to stop getting in my own head, and once I just committed to slamming the Snoop, I stopped losing winnable games when I cast Recruiter. My sideboarding was rough too, but the advice I got in my second week of my deck has creatures, bring in removal, was really the push I needed to start making bigger changes after game 1. By bringing in hand attack and bringing out the explosive 1-drops that they'd be prepared for, I was able to burn my opponent's removal before exposing my powerful 3s, and I was able to also take out these cards in the main deck which are dead in a lot of matchups, like Trashmaster for instance. Ultimately, the deck came out looking like this. All gas, no breaks, aggro start with a combo finish. It's not the deck I started with, and I wouldn't want it to be. It's my version, it fits my playstyle, and I've had a lot of fun bringing it. But for now, it's time to send it off with one last hurrah. It is a successful finale for Goblins, taking it 3-1 in matches and 6-3 in games, including a 2-0 in round 3 against Justin Chung, who, if you don't know, here he is in the top 8 of the 160-person Mana Clash event last weekend. He actually won it, but I couldn't find footage of the finals. Turns out anyone can lose if their opponent is lucky enough. This week really helped me feel secure about the improvements that I noticed last week. I had the same sense that my sequencing was way better, and my deck consistently had strong early play patterns. Since my first week, I've come from bringing a deck that was literally 50% removal and still not being able to control the board, to bringing a deck that has next to no removal and playing long interactive games, and coming out on top. That's not to say that it was easy. I've definitely had the element of luck on my side a lot in the past couple of weeks. Although I believe that skill is the main determiner of outcomes in the long term for Magic, the way that I've beaten mid-range decks specifically definitely feels like I've got away with something. Here are a few examples. My opponent in round 1 didn't properly understand how the Snoop combo worked and overheld their removal, waiting until it was too late to stop me. In round 2, game 2, my opponent was forced to mull to 5 and I'd kept a very interactive hand. And then in game 3, they kept drawing the wrong halves of their A plus B combos. I ripped straight gas back to back to secure game 1 from a stalled out position in the third round, and then in the second game I kept 3 hand attack spells when my opponent had 1 land and Brainstorm. I got righteously crushed in round 4 though. The game 2 Blood Moon on my 4-color opponent to just untap, slam Bombardiers and then Pyrogoyf to dome me for 13 was pretty brutal. All this doesn't mean that there's nothing to learn though. I was still being rewarded for the strategic decisions that I'd made. The luck factor came in how much I was rewarded for making those decisions. I understood the technicalities of my deck better than my round 1 opponent. My deck was more consistent than that of my round 2 opponent, and I chose to switch to an interactive game plan after the sideboard in round 3. These are things that I've been working to improve over the last month. But another way that we can think about it is the ways that I could have lost. Let's take round 2 as an example. In game 1, it was very grindy mid-range back and forth where they started out stalling the board, then I took over as they chump blocked a few times and sacrificed some creatures to other effects. Then they drew a tutor to hit the second half of their combo and killed me on the spot. This could easily have happened in any of our games, especially game 3 where they kept drawing mismatched pieces from different combos. To learn from these types of game, I try to think about what it would have taken to turn it around for them. In this case, Ajani was really strong at stalling me out in games 1 and 3, and my lack of instant speed interaction made their combos really threatening. If the deck were to become more popular, I might adjust my sideboard so that I would have more interaction besides just hand attacks and fury. As it is, I'm a bit sad to put my little guys away, but I've already filled the hole in my heart with another new toy. I'll tell you more about it next week, but don't worry, it's even less consistent than Goblins was. Until then, good luck, have fun, and may the best wizard win.